Hi there, welcome back to the Kenny Veach Cave mystery missing person case. Today, I wanted to reflect back on the cave in which Kenny Veach appeared scared of, almost questioning himself when you listen to the audio. And it was picked up on recently by a person called Ben, I believe. I did do a short video focusing on it. If you haven't already checked it out, feel free to do so in the short tab section on my channel. I've covered some other Kenny Veach videos recently, and I do need to explain one other thing later, so be sure to stick around for that. But yeah, today I just wanted to do a bit more of a focused video in normal format so I can make it a bit longer and I can talk it through clearer, because in YouTube Shorts, you're limited to the timing of it. So yeah, this is to do with Kenny Veach, his Cave hike video, the one what he uploaded to his channel, okay? And in terms of the location of what we're focusing on today, it's just before you get to Picture Canyon, as if you were almost done finishing the hike and you were almost on the loop back to where you started, to where you parked. So just before Picture Canyon, and I think just before Skull Canyon as well. That's how we refer to it, okay? And it just seems like a hot spot, okay? It's a place people have referred back to. It's a place where you do have the odd prominent M-shaped cave present. It might not completely fill the characteristics described by Kenny, but there are some M-shaped looking caves, and it just happens to be in the area Kenny Veach was hiking in. Take that into consideration. I do also need to do a video about another aspect, how his level of exploration, how hands-on he was truly. We need to do some questioning there, okay? But that's in a separate video. Be sure to be on the lookout for it. Today, I just want to focus on it into the cave Kenny appeared afraid of. A cave Kenny seemed reluctant to explore, to even walk up to it. But at the same time, when Kenny Veach pans on over and zooms on in, it sounds as if he's saying, do it. It's like, is there a second thought in his head telling him to go that way, but he decides to resist? Is any shape or form? That's the area where Kenny Veach initially found the M cave, or something of dark mystery. I don't know, it just seems like his behaviour kind of changed in that small space of time. And what I want to do today is present to you that clip and just have a few quick looks at some of the photos and analyse it. And, I can even play the video footage back a few times just so you hear it, okay? It's not just about the cave itself and how it looks visually speaking, but Kenny's actual tone of voice and the thing he mumbles to himself, which sounds almost like there's conflict with his own mind. Be on the lookout for that. Now, before we go any further, just wanted to say shout out to Cleo, shout out to Maria, of course, for their presence last night in their super chats. Very, very, very good of them. And as well, maybe the odd other person, I think King Samoan as well, appreciate him. And if there's anybody else that was present last night, if I can't remember everyone's name, shout out to them too, okay? If anybody is currently here, welcome to the live premiere. Be sure to share your thoughts, opinions and reactions in the live chat. If you don't get time, or you want to elaborate, or you joined the video late, watching it a different day, be sure to leave some comments down below. Let me know your thoughts if you want to elaborate, if you want to explain further. Do you think Kenny Veach was kind of considering approaching this cave he appeared somewhat scared of? Because, what we got to understand and acknowledge is, if there's ever a moment in Kenny Veach's hike video he appeared a little bit afraid or a little bit intimidated, that's very important, because the original description by Kenny when he did find the M cave on his unrecorded previous hike, he said he was kind of scared by it, the presence and the vibrations. So if at any point someone like Kenny, of all people, becomes somewhat scared in a certain area, maybe there's no harm in focusing on that spot, because it kind of matches with an external characteristic, and that characteristic is of Kenny's personal reaction to the spot. So could there be a link established? Well, we'll play through the clip and we can see what you think as well. Down below in the pinned comment section, there'll be some links if you wish to check them out. and top right corner of the screen, I symbol. If you click on that, you can be redirected to the full Kenny Veach MCave playlist, so you can catch up on videos you missed out on previously. And as well, I can provide a link to last night's video if you're quite interested in that. There was an important return of somebody to do with a different case out there. Feel free to catch up on it when you have time, okay? So that all being said and done, it's now time to get right into it. The structure and format is, I'm going to play the clip to you once, let you take it in, and I'm going to play it again a few times after that, just because of the audio and what Kenny said. And then we can analyse from there and just look at the odd photo. Take in mind, we don't have to go as deep this time with the cave itself, because I have done, previous videos in the past, zooming in, highlighting it, enhancing the photos. You can check those videos out if you are interested specifically in the cave. But this time around, I wanted to do it from the point of view of Kenny himself and how he reacted and how he may have felt at that time, that moment, okay? That's what the key is today. It already gained quite a bit of interest on TikTok and short videos here, there, but we need to kind of focus on in now with commentary and some kind of analysis. Maybe we can come to a conclusion, or maybe it just opens up new discussions for other people and it could lead to new investigations. Who knows, anything's possible, right? So if everyone's ready, let's get into the video footage.
So I really got to keep my eyes peeled because I don't want to pass it. You know? And then there's caves like that, looks like. I'm not going up there. And there's caves, there's actually caves all over the place up here. It's a really cool place. If you want to come spelunking, this is the place to come spelunking, man.
So after watching that clip and footage by Kenny, let me know your thoughts down below. Did Kenny appear somewhat scared or a bit reluctant to explore it closer, to get closer to it? Would you say that? I mean, in my opinion, when you hear how he talks in the area in general, just before approaching it and being in parallel to it, he was saying how, when referring back to the cave itself, the one he found, it's deep and it's dark. It started to sound like his voice was trembling. It was as if he was already getting a little bit uncomfortable in the area, right? You want to check out some reference points to do with that, what he previously described. Feel free to check his video out, his full-length hike video, or my previous videos. I can always refer back to the other audio in a separate standalone video, as I said, because there is another aspect to this. But we're focusing on this particular cave, how when Kenny Veach started getting closer, approaching it in a sense in terms of distance, and how he turned around and said, and then you got a cave like this one, and then he zooms on in, and it kind of goes quiet, right? He stops talking and he just focuses in on it. And then he says a few words, which we'll replay in a second. And then he pans away and carries on walking and starts talking again. Talk about you can go spelunking in the area. Now that seems to be a bit of misinformation, because at least when all the other hikers have gone to that area where Kenny Veach hiked in to look for Kenny or to look for the M cave, none of them found a cave where you could go exploring inside, because all the caves in the area are very shallow, or appear shallow at first-hand sight. So what is Kenny Veach talking about? How can you go spelunking if you can't, and it's been proven by other hikers? Was Kenny Veach meaning a different area? Was he trying to cause misdirection? Was he confused himself? I wonder. But then after talking about that, it went quiet again, and he just had to pan back round to the left. It was as if he was looking back at the cave he walked past. The cave he seemed somewhat intimidated by. You know, why did he look back at it? Well, that's how it appears, because the camera pans back round and then he goes quiet again, stops talking. And you can see in the corner of the screen that, you know, fair-sized cave, slightly higher up at a slight angle, right? You know, is he looking back at it thinking, that's the spot, but I can't reveal it directly to the general public? Or is it him looking back and thinking, could it be that area? Could it be that spot? Just like out adjacent or parallel to it, I said, yeah, and a cave somewhere like here on the ground level. It does seem like a hotspot area, and it is also the area where Kenny Veach reacted the most compared to other areas on his hike, right? Now, if we're talking about the audio aspect, what was captured in that footage, there's already some weird audio and potential paranormal stuff caught on camera down Pitcher Canyon when he proceeds onwards on his hike back. If you are interested in that, be sure to check my previous videos out, okay? But in that spot where Kenny Veach stood staring at that cave, which was pretty great in size, it being higher up as well, the shape of it, well, I've seen a few people here and there say it's shaped like an M cave. I don't know about that. Maybe if you tilt your head, you might be able to make it out in some way. I know some people have referred to the glowing eyes in the cave. Was it a reptilian, a dark creature, a cave lion stalking him? Was it any of that? I mean, you know, when analysing closer and enhancing the images, it just looks like marks on the rock. But still, maybe if you look at it from afar, first time round, you could be somewhat intimidated by it because you're just not sure what it really is unless you find out and investigate and get closer to try and maybe debunk it or reinforce it. Though Kenny Veach didn't have any intentions of doing that. I mean, he didn't seem that hands-on, did he? He didn't go up to any caves, he didn't look inside any, he didn't pick up the rocks, he just didn't do much. When it came to Scott Natal, when it came to Sean Horlacher, they went up to those caves to look in, to look through the gaps or the cracks, to document, to talk it through. Kenny was literally just hiking on through whilst holding a camera. And that's what makes me think, was he really trying to look for the cave, or was it just a quick walk on through? As I said, separate video about that, but I just wanted to bring that up for discussion, okay? Sam, referring back to the audio, the strange audio and things he said on camera in that bit of footage, as he turns around, and the first bit, he says something much quieter. And then after it, he says, do it. It sounds like, do it, something like that. And then followed up with, no, I'm not going to go up there. Was there a conflict in his mind? I wonder. The first bit where it was much quieter, what you referred to, it was when he was zooming on into the cave and he said, like that or something. Don't worry, if you didn't hear it in the initial playthrough, I am going to play the clips one more time right now, and I'll have it on repeat, and I'll put subtitles on to describe to you what it sounded like. It did sound like Kenny Veach talking to himself. Was it his inner thoughts being expressed? Was it him saying that this is the M cave, or this is the area which he was scared by in the past? And the bit about him saying, do it, and then, no, I'm not going to do it. Is there some kind of conflict that he wanted to, but he was kind of reluctant at the same time? Why would you be? If you're determined to find the cave, determined to prove it to the general public, why be so reluctant in certain areas? Is it just because he doesn't have the time? He's too busy focusing on the true M cave? I don't know, his behaviour just seemed to change in that moment, right? So let me play back that clip and try to listen and focus on the audio of what Kenny says.
Caves like that, you know. Looks like.
So hopefully you were able to hear and understand what he said, or my interpretation of what he said. It seemed like, looks like, but he said it very quietly to himself. Now, I played it back a few times in case you're wondering why it was on repeat, and I did slow it down a little bit as well, just to try and make it a bit clearer. I know audio at times can be a bit difficult. Maybe it's open to interpretation from others. If anybody else heard it, let me know if you agree or not. Did he say looks like, or is he saying something else? Leave a comment down below. But if he did ultimately say looks like when panning in on the cave, why did he say it? Looks like what? Looks like the M cave? Is that what he meant? Looks like the spot of the area of where he initially found it. Looks like something is inside. Looks like this area is kind of scary. I don't know, he didn't really finish his sentence, did he? But then, shortly after, he abruptly said, do it. Well, no, I'm not going to bother. I'm not going to bother going there. That's what it sounded like. Now, when Ben was referring to the audio, as I said earlier, I think he was picking up on the bit where Kenny said, do it. Or it sounded like that. I don't know if Ben picked up on the bit where it said, looks like. Let me know, Ben, your thoughts on that other bit of audio. Sometimes you got to really listen in, because there's all kinds of sounds you can pick up on, especially in that hike video. Okay, so was Kenny Veach trying to drop a clue, trying to drop a hint, or maybe he was resisting against doing it? I don't know. There's maybe something going on there. Now, what we're going to do, once again, I'm going to play that audio back again, but the bit where it sounds like he says, do it. Now, play it a few times, and then let me know your thoughts about it.
Doink, I'm not going up there. Doink, I'm not. Doink, doink, doink.
So let me know your thoughts. Do you agree with what was potentially said, i.e. do it? Or do you think he meant something else? I guess the only interesting link to make is, I believe later on when Kenny Veach goes down Picture Canyon, and hopefully some people remember, besides the strange paranormal voice saying, follow the red tape, another thing was saying, don't go, or don't stop, or don't something. I can't remember exactly what was said. Maybe I can do a comparison in the future, but if it is something to do with don't something, and then in this clip, it sounds like Kenny says, do it. It's like the opposite. You know what I'm saying? A paranormal voice sounds as if it's saying don't, but he said do it. Different areas, but close to each other on the wave you're passing on through. You know, if you heard something else, you can let me know your thoughts down below, but I don't know, it just seems as if maybe at that moment, Kenny had a sudden thought in his mind to go and explore the area, the cave, to go up to it, to maybe show to the general public so other people could see it up close, or maybe more so for him, just to double check. But then that thought was quickly erased, and then he said, nope, I'm not going to go up there. Quite abrupt, from saying possibly do it to, no, I'm not going to go up there. It might not be something, you know, it might not be, but I don't know, it just seems a little bit odd, and a couple of people over time have picked up on it, so that's why I wanted to do a focus video on it right now, just to see, you know, your thoughts, whether you agree or not. But if he was partially considering, you know, going up there to explore, you know, if the whole point of him is to go on this hike and to record it, to show it to the general public, to try and prove he's determined, he's passionate, at that moment on his hike, he's probably running out of time in terms of his actual hike route. Because once you get to approaching Picture Canyon, you're almost on the way back to doing that loop back to the vehicle. And once you pass on through Picture Canyon, the ground does become a bit flatter and there's not as many caves. Correct me if I'm wrong, but in terms of like the initial part leading up to the mine shaft and going over Wild Horse Pass, that you'd be thinking about, could that be the area along the way where it's at? Yet Kenny couldn't find it along that way. So maybe to him it was seen as, damn, time's running out. I'm almost on the way back and I haven't found it. What am I going to do? You know, this is not looking good for me. It's not looking good for what I've said online, and I need to prove something. And yet he comes across that one cave, which he changes in behaviour, and he's like, do it. Do it. Yeah, I might as well go up to it. Might as well have a look, maybe. I've not found anything else since. No harm in doing so. And then he's like, no, I'm not going to bother. If you're trying to prove something to people, why aren't you as hands-on? You know what I'm saying? When it came to Scott Natal, when it came to Sean Horlacher, who are equally interested in finding Kenny and also the M Cave, they were significantly more hands-on than Kenny Veach as for the footage, right? They were up close to the caves, trying to check in them, trying to look for clues, You know, you would have thought Kenny Veach would have been more hands-on than anybody else because he was that passionate and driven to find that once mysterious cave and to document and prove it to the general public. Yeah, he was just reluctant to go here or to go there. So, was there something else going on? Was there something else at play at that moment, at that time? Some people over time have believed and come with the theory that maybe Kenny Veach wasn't alone out there. Maybe he was with someone, or there was something watching him, so he felt restricted as to what he can and can't do. Different ways of looking at it, right? But just that little bit of audio. And we're not talking about strange sounds in that sense where it could be paranormal, it could be something military related, it could be Kenny's digestion or his burping. No, this is actual words, what he said in that footage, and it's just trying to make sense of it and why did he say it. That's all I'm covering today. You know, the cave itself, you know, if you even want to call it a cave, you can let me know your thoughts on that aspect too. I guess we can just have a brief look at a screenshot, a still shot of it to be in the shoes of Kenny at the time of when he turned around and saw it. Let's just have a final look at the photo. So here we are looking at it. You know, you can be in the mindset as if picture yourself in the area at the time when you saw it. Would it be of any interest to you? Does it stand out for you? Does it make you feel uneasy? Does it look mysterious in any way, shape or form? I mean, it's slightly higher up. As for the ground, it's kind of close to ground level. It's just that the gradient of the ground goes up slightly because it's going up to the mountains and the rock wall. As for what's surrounding the area, you can't really see any other caves that stand out much. I mean, that kind of shallow one there doesn't look much is going on. But this is the thing, you know, when you're looking at the shape of it, let me know. Does that look like the M cave? Or better worded, does it look like an M-shaped cave? If you tilt your head to the side, does it look like an M? Maybe to a small extent when it was zoomed in more the camera, but it doesn't quite fit the characteristics Kenny described. But at the end of the day, Kenny Veach made mistakes throughout his hike video when talking, so maybe anything is possible. But if you looked at that quick and you didn't zoom in, yes, it does fit the characteristics of it looks dark and it could be deep. Upon, you know, zooming on into it and increasing and enhancing it, it's not as deep as you think, right? But there could be like a little gap somewhere which goes in a bit deeper, but it doesn't seem that wide, doesn't seem that big, as Kenny described. But still, he reacted in an odd way. So, you know, we need to at least acknowledge that because it could be of some other mystery, possibly. But yeah, the size of it, especially when he looks back, it's a fair size, to, you know. So I just want to know your thoughts about it. I mean, there's every small chance that at some point in the time, future or past, mountain lion may have used it as a den to rest, possibly. Was there any other markings inside? Any ancient markings like what Scott Natal came across in the past? Don't know, because Kenny Veach unfortunately didn't go up to it. And to be fair, it doesn't look that steep, okay? The ground there, not too bad. And it's only up to that point where it gets a bit steeper, but there's not much distance from there to there. I'm just surprised Kenny didn't want to go up to it just to explore, unless he felt that it would waste time and he was in a rush or in a hurry or something. But, I mean, the only other interesting thing is it's adjacent, it's parallel to the supposed covered up M cave. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but when Sean Horlacher went in 2019 and he was very hands-on with the supposed covered-up cave, and even SB Vegas Adventures climbed on top and looked at it from down below, which was very useful, good camera angle. None of those, at that time of one of the specific hike videos, let's just put it that way, panned over this way, okay? Now, SB Vegas Adventures, if you're currently here or watching later, let me know, did you go up to this supposed shallow cave? Did you have a brief look inside or not? This is kind of in parallel to the supposed covered up M cave, okay? I personally would say that the supposed covered up M cave looks less of an M-shaped cave in comparison to the odd other cave in the area, but I said that can be a separate video to focus on, okay? But yeah, I guess when you get caves in the mountains a bit higher up, there might be a greater sense of mystery and intrigue, especially when the mountains are significantly greater in size and height, and a supposed cave is much higher up, maybe out of reach, and it's like, oh, I wonder what's up there. Is anyone in there? Is anything present or once present? Might draw you to it. And I mean, it's just the colouring too. You know, zoomed out, it does look dark, it does look deep, even though it's not really. When you look at it from afar, it can stand out more due to the colour tone of what's around it. It can guide your eyes to that one spot. Now, as for the surrounding area, I don't think I can see anything else, but if any of you noticed anything from Kenny's footage or audio, be sure to leave a comment down below and maybe we can take a look at it some other time. All in all, hopefully you found the video interesting, maybe you picked up on something new which you didn't before. Be sure to leave some comments down below. Feel free to like and share the video if you think it's worth doing so. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens next. I just find it interesting how that area, the hot spot, there could still be possibilities, right? Who knows? So yeah, we'll leave it there for now. We'll see what happens next. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. Good night for now.